Good morning, folks. It's Josh here from racingtoprofit.co.uk. Hope you're doing well. I thought I would do or record a quick video preview of the 250 at Towcester, where I may have lost all of my marbles, tipping 2 points in a big field Class 5 handicap chase packed full of inconsistent beasts. Maybe it's a sign that it's been fairly quiet and I wanted some 3 mile plus chase tipping action. But we shall see. I've kind of taken a different approach here and I may well pay for it, but a couple of horses really stood out. As you can see, Snowball and Black Narcissus, and I will show you why as I dip firstly within Gigi's goal before I go on to horse race base. Part of the reasons, or one of the reasons I use this bit of kit is the Instant Expert tab, because you can get a feel on a race pretty quickly, and in a race like this at Towcester I kind of want proven form in the ground, which is softer heavy. Clearly proven form in the class is important, as is stamina, and possibly stamina for further. But at Towcester, a kind of course win or course and distance win next to your name is decent enough. And I have picked a couple that seem to go quite well here. If I click the Instant Expert tab, which shows me horses who have won against the conditions, going, class, course, distance, field size, shows me their handicap rating against their last win. Now, if I change this going, which is soft through to heavy, this is another benefit. I can change the going within the card and it will update all the form. So this brings me up all of the horses' form of kind of the last 5 years, I think, of soft through to heavy ground, and hopefully you can see there kind of two horses jumping out with a lot of amber, a lot of green, which is generally good. Red is generally bad or question marks. And you can see there Black Narcissus has a kind of line against all race conditions. It's £5 below his last handicap mark. That interested me. Magical Man is decent, but he's now above his last winning mark. Touch of Steel. In kind of these conditions, I'm probably a bit anti going with a horse that hasn't run at this very unique and very demanding track. This hill takes some getting up, and maybe that's something I need to put more emphasis on, especially at Towcester. How's My Friend has a big stamina question. I can look through and up the stamina distance range and look at form over kind of 4 furlongs further, which is no bad thing here. How's My Friend at 13 to do up this hill kind of has a big stamina question. Given his age, that would kind of perturb me, I think. Cheat the Cheater might be interesting enough given his course form below his last winning mark. And Snowball is the other one which stands out with winning form. Ticking all the boxes here, only £1 above his last winning mark, which in a handicap chase probably doesn't mean too much at all, really. Especially one over a marathon trip. If I click on the places, you can kind of see some of the horses' records of placing at the track. Again, How's My Friend, not too bad, and has placed at the distances, so maybe there in terms of place form not to be too concerned. What else? Snowball is fine. Try It Sometime might be interesting enough in terms of his course form. He's well below his last winning handicap mark, so he seems to run well at this track. But on the winning form against conditions, 2 horses kind of stood out, as you can see there, and I've kind of, I suppose, started and ended with those 2 and taken a bit of a closer look. Black Narcissus has a ridiculous amount of numbers next to his name, although he's now £5 below that run at Foss last run. He lugged around kind of £4 more, 12 stone on his back. I'm looking for a horse doing something differently that has that form, well, and in general actually, even with exposed types. I want to ask the question of why this horse may improve on recent runs. I know that he handles conditions, and if he bounced back to his best, he would have to go close given his proven form across the conditions that we just saw. The 3 things of interest here, really. The blinkers come on for the first time. He wore a tongue tie for his last 3 runs, and they've now actually given him a wind operation. So they are reasons why he may improve. Clearly, all these wind ops, backing them blind isn't going to win you much money, probably lead to the poorhouse. But I'm looking for reasons for why the horse might suddenly show more life and the blinkers and the wind up are that reason. And in poor quality races like this, such changes can be enough. He's still only 9. And he's only or she, I should say, and she's only had kind of 13 odd runs, I think, in handicap chases. The other final thing which I thought was interesting was the fact that Gavin Sheehan rides. He's in the form of his life. I don't think he's ridden this mare before. Anytime he gets booked at the moment, given his recent form, as you can see here, 6 from 18 in the last 14 days, 9 from 31, 17 places. The last 30, anytime he gets booked, I kind of take note and take a closer look at his mounts, or I'm starting to anyway. And he rides the track pretty well. So all those things kind of looked interesting, and he's quite clear top rated on GG speed figures, which is always kind of an added positive, I suppose, and is never a negative. Also, if I look at the trainer's recent form, last 8 runners, 2 have won, 3 have placed. It could be she'd been pretty cold and pretty quiet, and that may also be an excuse for why the horse ran so poorly. She also, sorry, drops back in class into a weak class 5, back to a track where she has run well. So all those things together at kind of 10 to 1, 11 to 1, I thought was worth a roll of the dice. So that's that one. Particularly plenty in here inconsistent. That's the nature of class 5s. 11 stone 10 in this ground round here might be hard work. But if I jump into horse race base and look at Black Narcissus, you can see Towcester 1 from 1, stays further, ground no problem. Field runners size hasn't run too many times, so I'm not going to worry about that. Handicap mark back down into the range. She's won at back at the time of year. She's done well, and she has won twice in handicaps with 11 stone 11 on her back, so she can clearly carry weight as well. So yes, all in all, worth a go. 7 minutes. This will be kept under 10. Where am I looking? On the wrong race there. Snowball was the other one. The booking of Nico de Boinville caught the eye, as did the fact this one has 10 stone 3 on his back, and it could be in these attritional conditions that having no weight on your back is beneficial. I thought Nico de Boinville's ridden him before, and I thought it interesting that suddenly, having had quite an inexperienced jockey on his back, he now books one of the best around, and one of those who has ridden the horse once before, placing on him. If you look at his form here, only last February, well, I suppose that's about a year ago now, he was climbing this muddy hill to victory, carrying 10 stone 1 off 75. A repeat of that performance, that's what I'm asking, that's what I'm looking for. And if he does that, then he clearly will go close. He looks like he wants a right stamina test. The thing that also caught the eye when clicking on his horse race based profile, so I used that as a starting point. I then went and had a look. I looked at his handicap record. As you can see there, de Boinville's ridden him once. Course form, as you can see. Ground form, no problem, and probably the more testing, the better. He stays well. Class 5 is no problem at all, so drop back into this class is good. I'm not sure if he's been running... well, no, he ran a couple of class 4s there, but his last 2 runs have been class 5. But the interesting thing, which did catch the eye when looking through, is he is best going right-handed. As you can see, 3 from 12, 7 places. Figure of 8 and going left-handed, 0 from 10, or 0 from 12, 0 places, and all run in handicaps. So that might be a valid excuse for any kind of recent run. Certainly Fontwell, Wincanton, but when you're playing in class 5s, I think you have to be more forgiving of recent form, because they are inconsistent. There isn't a level over fences that I like to dive into too much. But here you've seen the reasons why. Handicap marks are fine. They all tick all the boxes for race conditions. And this one, Snowball's got a lightweight on his back. And returning to this track with a professional jockey on, if he can recapture any kind of his past form or glories, he would go well. And the same with Black Narcissus, if the blinkers, if the wind up works. I wonder in first time headgear whether Sheehan might be more positive on him, and he might actually try and ride him more aggressively near the front. This race looks like it will take some getting. You want a slogger, and I think those two, based on what we know, are kind of, well, they tick those boxes, is what I was going to say. There's reasons to be hopeful of both, and I think that's it really. You can probably make a case for something else. I thought Try It Sometime might run well given his course form, and might be another interesting outsider. I'm not too bothered about, well, I don't really want to take anything at kind of 6-1 or shorter in a race like this with inconsistent animals in very testing conditions. But that's just my view. So we shall see. That was the process. The instant expert to start using GGs as a starting point, then taking a closer look at a couple of horses within horse race base, a couple of kind of ratings points as well. GG's speed. I looked at horse race base and informed speed ratings as well, and both of those show up okay on a few different factors. So they are the reasons. Anything could happen. They could both be pulled up. They could both be tailed off. They might fall. They might get out of the stables and think not today. But there is method to my madness, and there's reasons for why they may run a bit better. So with that said, at kind of 8-1 plus the pair, I thought I would take a nibble and take a dabble, and we shall see if that proves foolish or not in a few hours' time. So thanks for watching. Hope you found that of some use. That's how the brain worked and approach that. If you've got any fancies, any thoughts, then do post a comment far away. Feel free to disagree, and we shall see. So fingers crossed. Good luck with whatever you're backing. And this is Josh saying, until the next time, bye for now.